Hello and welcome back, guys, to my new video. Last time with you, we created create, read, update, delete articles with tags. And now what we are missing is actually a file upload example. So without any further ado, we'll be using a article from Medium that I created last year. I will attach it as a comment to this video. And uh, without any citations, we could continue. So we already have Laravel, we have Backpack, we have tax, CRA, UD, and also the article one. And now we need to create a migration that will allow us to add a new column to our articles table. So how to add this? Let me just show you the current structure of the table. So if I open MySQL, let's show databases and say use my Laravel database and then show tables and let's say describe articles. The result that I get is this one. So we don't have any column that we could be using to store the images. So we need to create one. In order for us to create one, we could use our friend Artisan and say, hey, Artisan, could you please make a migration that's called add image to articles table and make sure that you'll be using the articles table as a foundation. When you run this in the console, you get a notification that a new file has been created. And this new file is actually inside your inside your database migration folder. I'll delete this one because I won't need it for now. So in here, I see that it's using articles and I could add my magic. So I want to add a field to actually hold the information about the image path. So this is a common approach when you are working with file uploads. In the database, you don't store the actual file. In the database, you store the root to that file. So I'm saying, hey, the name of the field is image. It's this long string, and it could be nullable. So it could be empty. That's important because there could be articles that have images and other articles that doesn't have images. So this is sufficient for us just to make sure that it will add the column. So if we want to add the column, we could run a PHP artisan and then migrate. And we get a message that everything runs smoothly. And if we check again inside MySQL, if you compare the two instances, you see that the latest one was updated at, and now we have an image that's nullable. So we now have a new column, and if you refresh, you see the image, but it is empty, and it says that it's a string, so this is not working for us. We need a file upload. So in order for us to add the file upload, we need to make some preparations. First, we'll be making adjustments to the model. We'll be adding these two use statements inside the model. So the model is inside app and then models and open articles. The first one is adding string because there's a class for string support. It has everything. And the second one is adding a facade that's related to storage. And we'll be adding two functions. I'll just copy paste the functions and then explain to you why we are adding those functions. So the first function is actually boot. This is something that's already existing if you check the files, but we are adding more functionality to this function. What we are doing is usually if it's using the base one, we're not overriding. But when it comes to deleting, because it says if someone is deleting, we are adding a listener and saying, hey, if you delete an entity of this one, please make sure that you delete an item from storage. So storage is actually the place where files are kept. And inside storage, you know that we have app, we have public, and also we have general storage. So we have up public, and we need to make sure that if something is uploaded, it will go to storage up to the correct place. And then if something is deleted as an entity from the database, it should be deleted from the database, but the actual file should be removed as well. So that's the aim of this method. And the second one, it's called set image attribute. So this is a mutator. You could read more about it. I won't go into the details, but the idea of the second function is anytime when you're setting a value of the image field, it will check the attribute name. And if the value is null, so you're either removing it or you're not adding it, it will try to delete from storage the data, and it will set the value is null. In the opposite way, if it's not null, then it will actually create a name for you, and it will upload it. So how do I know it will create a name? Let me give you more details. So we have the attribute name, which is image, which is the actual image attribute that we have in the database. Then we have the destination path, which is the articles, which is logical because you're adding actually files to articles. Then we have a check whether the value is null or not. And if the value is not, we are adding information about the disks. So you could have multiple disks, and in this case, this is storage and it's public, so it's adding them here. And then we are using a function that's called upload file to disk. So it accepts the value, which is the actual file that's uploaded, the attribute name, the disk, the destination, and the file name currently that I'm passing is null. But if you open the function in here, you will see that if it is null, the file name, it will actually generate a new one that it will use the original name, then it will add some random value, then it will concatenate this with the timestamp, then it will concatenate this with the original extension, and then it will create an MD5 version. So you see the MD5 version is a good one. So we have the original name with random and some time. And that's why I added this as a comment. So anyone that wonders how the file name is generated, this is how the file name is generated. And then we're just saving this in the database with a prefix like storage and then the name. And we are replacing these two because we want to make sure that if someone tries to delete it, it will delete it from the public disk. But if someone tries to access this, it will access it from the storage URL. Why this is different? Well, I could show you if I open, let's say, go to the Laravel installation and then go to the public path and try to list everything. You could see that we have a symlink that says storage folder on-site public. It's actually workspaces and then example app, storage app public. So Laravel is using symlinks, and those symlinks are actually generated by using artisan storage link. So if you run artisan storage link, this will generate a symlink for you. And this specific symlink, let me go one step back. If I run it, it will say, oh, you already have it. So it's actually creating this one. If you try to access anything in here like /storage, it will try to read it through your storage folder, then app, then public. So this is how it says safe for you because you upload the files in one place and actually serve them through a symlink. That's why we need this artisan storage link command. So going several steps back, we already have the function, we already have everything. So the next thing that we'll be doing is actually adjusting the controller. Because now if you just list the items, you see we have already an image inside the database, but the image here is empty. And also when you try to edit, there is no file path, etc., which doesn't work. And from our latest video, we know that if we want to adjust something, we need to go to the actual HTTP, then to the controller, then to admin, and then open article CRUD controller. And in there, I have a function That's actually called getFieldsData. And in that function, I'm adding, hey, I want you to show the article image. This is the name of the column image. I know that this is the name of the column because I added this in the database. And then based on the fact whether this is for view or no, if it's for view, show just the view. If it's for upload, show the upload. And if I refresh, now you see I have a file upload. And if I try to upload an image, it will upload this for me. And if I try to save it, now it's saved. So if I check inside my SQL and say, hey, select all from articles, and then zoom just to make sure, you see in the database, we are actually storing the path to the article. So if I just copy this path here and try to open it in the browser, I should be able to actually see the image. And yes, this is true. I do see the image. And if I go to my, let me just have it like this. And if I go inside my storage folder, then app, then public, then articles, I have a new name for my image. So it's a totally new generated name. That was an MD5 hash created by the original name, etc. And if I check my public folder, we have storage, then we have articles, and then it's the very same image, but it's just a symlink. So this is how it works. If you click edit, it will pre-populate the image. You don't have a preview, but if you click on it, you see it. There are paid components inside Backpack that has a preview. For the sake of this university course, we don't need the paid components. This is okay for us just for you to know how to upload an image. So we actually uploaded the image. We have a preview, which doesn't work. You see, it says view partials image that not found. Why it doesn't work? Well, if you open the show operation, you see that we're saying, hey, you're not going to read this from the database. And also we're adding the columns by passing this parameter to true, which means that use a view component. So inside Backpack, there are lots of Laravel Backpack components. And if you check them, you see that let me open it. So I'm here, and then we have the basics. And then if I search for fields here, in the fields, you see we have a lot of fields, but one of them is called view, and it's a free one. And if you open the view one, it says you could add this, you could add a custom view, and based on that custom view, you could do anything. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, I'll add a custom view that will be stored inside partials and image. So views by default live under resources. We have views, and I'm creating a new folder that's called partials. If you could type correctly, of course. Let me rename it. So we have partials. And now I will just create a new file that will be called image blade PHP. Just before creating the new file, I'll follow the article. In the article, we are also updating the list operation. So we are actually adjusting this one. And in the list operation, we're saying, hey, you're not going to listen anymore from the fields in the database. You're going to listen for my new column. So this is what I will do. I will open the article script controller, search for setup list operation, and then just replace this whole method. And now it will have an error because it's trying to find the view, but it couldn't find the view. And it says, hey, you are asking me to open it, but I don't see this view. So we were just creating it. So it's resources, views, partials. And then we need to provide the name of the view, which it will be image blade PHP. So I'm just creating under view partials, a new file here, views, partials, image blade PHP. And in the controller, we're searching for partials image. So you should remember anytime when you're searching for a view, you don't need to provide the views as a name. So it's under views, in this case, partials image. And when you are trying to load a blade template, you don't need to say image.blade.php. It's just the name. So in this case, it's image. And inside this template, what we are going to do is we are going to check, hey, does this entry has image? So entry by default is passed by backpack to the view. And this means the entity, and this entity in our case is article, which has a column that's called image. So that's why it will work. And if it does have an image, it will load it and add a width. So if I refresh, now I don't see an error because it loads. And if you go to preview, it will load again. So if you open it in a new tab, it will work again. So now we have a file upload. Let's just test one more. So we say, hey, I'm an Aston Martin fan. And then I'll just open and upload an image. And then whether we will see the car, yes, as a car fan, I do see it. So, and if you click on preview, you see it again. A couple of things that you should know, because this is the simplest way to do it, but it should be more optimal. Some things that I'm not covering in this video and I'm leaving intentionally for you is, first, think how to validate this. Previously, we used several ways to do that. So think how to validate the file upload in the request. And another thing that's for the advanced people, think how you could have different image sizes, because in here it's one image, the same size, but it's not cut. So for advanced users, think how you could accomplish this. If you are just a newcomer, first time hitting this, so this is the easiest way to make a file upload with a preview option. And now you have the preview option. So thank you for your attention. I will be happy if you have any comments, just add them.